There's no step forward that you can take under those circumstances, because if the man is offensive enough and crazy enough, the reaction becomes physical right away, or at least the threat is there. And when men are talking to each other in any serious manner, that underlying threat of physicality is always there, especially if it's a real conversation, and it keeps the thing civilized to some degree. Men actually don't have any idea how to compete with women, because the problem is that if you unleash yourself completely, then you're an absolute bully. And there's no doubt about that, because if men unleash themselves on other men, that can be pretty goddamn brutal, especially for the men that are really tough. And so that just doesn't happen with women ever. But so you can't unleash yourself completely. If you win, you're a bully. If you lose, well, you're just bloody pathetic. So how the hell are you supposed to play a game like that? We don't really have any idea how to integrate male and female dominance hierarchies.
Exactly. That's exactly right. This is why I love this show, Real Housewives, which
Yes.
Gloria Steinem scorns. And just last night, okay, I was watching an episode, all right, where the women were at each other, okay, at a party and all, in recounting. But I said this to you, but you said this to me, and the men got together there and said, well, this is the way they communicate, with each other, and men, we men, okay, just will have a fist fight, and 10 minutes later we're going to have a beer at the bar next to each other, and so and I have observed that my entire
my
life.
daughter used to be really irritated about that, because she like most people, she had observed these girls conspiring against her and then blackening her name on Facebook, which is part and parcel of the typical female bullying routine, which is often reputation demolition, right? That there's a good literature on that. And then she'd watch what would happen if my son would have a dispute with his friends, and maybe they were drinking and there was a dispute. They'd have a fight, and then the next day they were friends again. And that's another thing that's strange, is that men have a way of bringing a conflict to a head and resolving it, right? And that it isn't obvious to me that women have that same, perhaps you might call it a luxury, but it's also the case that men don't know what to do when they get into a conflict with a woman, because what the hell are you supposed to do, Mostly what you're supposed to do is avoid it.
That there's a certain kind of taunting and teasing that boys do with each other that toughens them, okay, and where they don't take things seriously. But a girl's feelings become extremely hurt if she hears something that is very tough, sarcastic against her. So I do feel that there are profound differences between the sexes in terms of emotions, in terms of communication patterns.